Hello guys, I hope everybody is able to see me, hear me and see the screen properly. Can I get a quick confirmation on chat? क्या सबको मेरी आवाज clearly सुनाई दे रही है? Can I get a quick confirmation on chat? We're going to be having a session which talks about what are the career opportunities for FRM and CFA students. Okay, what different career opportunities they can enter into. So can I get a quick confirmation before we start? Chat pe, give me a quick confirmation. All good? Perfect. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much for the confirmation. We're going to be starting out with the discussion now. Okay, so a lot of students right now are giving FRM exams, CFA exams in either their first or second attempt or first or second level, and for CFA 1, 2, 3 level. Okay, the opportunities which are there in the market are immense. I've just taken few of them so that I can talk about it and give a view to the audience that okay, this is also available for you. Okay, so career opportunities, but what is the agenda that I'm going to cover today? So first I'll give a brief about the career. What is CFA and what is FRM exam, a brief about that, and then we'll talk about different career pathways, and I'll be covering all of them over here. And lastly, I will also talk about few of the interview tips. Okay, that if you are planning to get into, okay, say for example, any of these areas, what you should ideally focus to prepare yourself for the interview. Okay, we're going to be coming up with more such sessions in the future to help the audience, help the students who are planning to make their career in finance. Okay, throughout this entire session, if you have any query, please put it on the chat section. I'll take your name and I'll address the query. Okay, so first of all, the basic discussion point is I'll give a quick introduction regarding the CFA and the FRM exam. Okay, so CFA exam, you register for the exam, then you have CFA level 1, okay, which is fairly easy, content is slightly vast. Then you have CFA level 2. This is the very big milestone that a lot of CFA candidates has to pass, because this level is slightly tough. Okay, and once you're done with that, you have CFA level 3, where you have some amount of constructive questions along with the multiple choice question, a combination, and then you go for the exam, you demonstrate your 4 years of experience and you become a CFA charter holder. Okay, there are one or two more steps which are there. Okay, you have to become a member of the society also, India Society, if you're from India, likewise. But this is the overall pathway to become a CFA. Then you also can talk about FRM. Okay, so you register, you pay the initial fees for the exam, then you start with FRM level 1, clear it, then go to FRM level 2, clear it, and you also then have to demonstrate around 2 years of work experience to become a proper FRM charter holder candidate. Okay, now suppose you have started this journey and you have a lot of queries in your mind that okay, what career I can make, or else if you have already completed either of them, either CFA or FRM, and now you want to explore different career opportunities. So we're going to be talking about few career pathways, okay, for the candidates. Okay, so I'm broadly going to talk about, I'll just change the color so that it becomes easily visible to all of you. So I'm going to talk about the investment banking career. Okay, how you can enter into large corporates like Reliance, Tata, Aditya Birla Group. Okay, some of the professional roles which are generally not talked about, so I'll be talking about that also, and some institutions. Okay, like we have some portfolio management roles, or say institutions like your pension funds, mutual funds. So I'll also be covering small part of it to give you a perspective. Okay, I've broadly covered few areas within the investment banking domain, so we'll be talking that first. Okay, in case of a query, please put it on the chat section. What different career opportunities you can get into an investment bank? Again, please understand, I have not talked about all the roles which are there. There are multiple roles which are available for you, but I've just taken few to give you a head start. Okay, now when we talk about the investment banking side, okay, there's a front office role. Okay, what is a front office role? When you interact with the customer. Okay, when you interact with the customer. Now within that front office role also, there are variety of activities that are done. Okay, so you have core M&A team. I'm going to talk about this first. Okay, so a lot of your investment banking teams, they suppose if tomorrow there is a merger of say Kotak Mahindra Bank and say NKGSB Bank, or there's a merger of some other bank. So when these mergers are happening, these acquisitions are happening, there has to be somebody from the investment banking side who will give the guidance with respect to the taxation part, the legal part, how do we do the valuation of the company. So there is an M&A expert, okay, that is needed, and that is where the front office team of the company comes into picture. Okay, similarly, okay, they help in raising capital. Okay, so there is a sales team, okay, which is available in the market. Okay, trading and sales we generally call it. So in some investment banks, you will find that the trading and sales team is also involved into the capital raising activity, or else they are only helping their clients do the transaction. So I'll give you a very basic example to help you understand. Okay, so suppose if I'm looking at raising money, so how do companies raise money? IPO. Okay, they have bond issuance. So over there also, when they want to do IPO, they will have an underwriter sitting in between, which is generally going to be an investment bank, which will do the entire process of managing, the activity. Okay, so overall what we are looking at is the aspect of the business which requires raising capital, and investment banking team will come into picture to manage and do that entire activity properly. So for example, if you look at say your DMart going for IPO, okay, or say Swiggy going for an IPO, then they need an investment banking team. So this is where your the capital raising team will come into picture. Okay, generally sales team sits along with them. Okay, I'll also give an example of trading and sales team. Okay, trading and sales team. Now over here what happens is, see, the trading team, they also provide the trading services to their clients. So who are my clients? For an investment bank, it is going to be the institutional investors. Now think about, suppose LIC, okay, they have taken position into say stocks of Yes Bank. Now they want to sell it, so they will primarily pass on that to an investment bank or a specialized trader. Okay, so investment banking team, they have a sales and trading team. The trading team explicitly works on helping their clients do transaction into the market. Okay, like I talked about LIC taking position in Yes Bank. Okay, they have purchased a lot of stocks of Yes Bank. Now they want to sell, so they will pass that transaction through the investment bank. Okay, because they are expert in doing bulk transaction, bigger transaction. Okay, sales team, when I say trading and sales, okay, the sales team helps the company to, suppose there is an IPO that is happening, okay, and I am sitting in the sales team of investment bank. I would help my client who's raising money to sell their shares in the market. So there are a lot of things that comes into picture, right? I'll have to go and talk to a few institutional investors. I'll have to think how this stock or how this IPO has to be promoted into the general public, retail investors. So that will also come into this discussion point. Okay, so there is a trading team, there is a sales team. Also there is one more, which is a fund management team. Okay, now fund management as an activity which is done in investment bank, so it is generally done through say investment management work. It is also done through wealth management, okay, or it is also done through asset management. Now all are different. Very simple example of asset management would be mutual fund. Okay, so these investment banking teams or companies, they might have a separate entity which is only doing asset management activity, which is issuing funds in the market or is issuing mutual funds in the market. Okay, then you have investment management, which is nothing but, suppose there is a big organization like Aditya Birla Group. Okay, they have huge cash available and they need an expert help to manage their overall investment activity. That can also be done. Now this is done for corporates. This is also done for HNIs. Okay, generally wealth management activity takes into account the HNI business, where I'm a rich HNI, I have around 50, 70, 100 crores available. I need somebody who can come and manage my wealth, come and manage my overall investment activity. So there also investment banking teams have, companies have specific teams. Okay, they have specific businesses where they only look at investment management, they only look at wealth management, they bifurcate it. Okay, I'm taking a pause. Ravi, you can do both the course, FRM and CFA in the future, so you have to have a long-term view on it. My suggestion, start with FRM, then do FRM level 1, then CFA level 1, CFA level 2, then either FRM level 2 or CFA level 3. Okay, I've answered the query, Ravi. Now over here, the major last part, which is a debt structuring team. This is also where you can enter into. Okay, we are planning to have a few podcasts in the future where we'll try to get somebody from the industry talking about the area of the debt structuring aspect also. We'll be talking about that. So you can stay tuned and you can definitely be a part of that. What exactly debt structuring team does. Now suppose I have a client who has already taken a lot of debt. Okay, they have taken say a debenture, they have taken a senior secured bond, and they want to issue commercial paper. So how do they overall create a structure of debt? How much debt is actually good for them? Okay, and from which market they should raise money? That all activities done by debt structuring team. So basically what we are doing in a simple language, we have a client who has taken a lot of debt, they have equity, they have debt. I am going to come and structure the debt in such a way that it helps the company to grow. I'll restructure it so that there is lesser burden on the company in terms of interest payment, and it also helps him in terms of growth. Okay. What are the big investment banks that are there? So you have Morgan Stanley, Citibank, Goldman Sachs, Barclays, Deutsche Bank, all of them, primer offices in Mumbai, Bangalore, Hyderabad. Okay, there are other companies also like Wells Fargo, NatWest, SocGen. All of these companies are providing opportunity. Generally, in bigger investment bank, you see the career growth. Okay, starting out as an analyst, then you become a senior analyst, associate, senior associate, then AVP. In a lot of companies, AVP role is not there. Directly from senior associate, you become a VP. Okay, and then ED and MD. Now, MD does not mean that the company has only one MD. It might be a divisional MD. Okay, it might be a divisional executive director. So the growth in investment banks in terms of your career growth is fairly good because you're going to grow faster. Okay, the hierarchy is slightly lean. So that way the career progression is good and the compensation is also very good. But you need to compete with the best of the best, because these roles, these investment banking front office roles are definitely going to be coveted, because a lot of people from top B school, they also come and become a part of it. Okay. Before we go to the next discussion point, okay, I'll just take the query. So Samya, I'm answering to your query, sir. Is the insurance advisor job role from Aditya Birla Group good for anybody from first and second year of student? So this insurance advisor role is more or less sales job. Okay. See, if you're thinking it from learning perspective, you'll learn very good about the entire products that are there in insurance business. Okay. And gradually, because you know the products, you'll be able to understand the business also. So from that perspective, if you have time, you can do it. Okay, but it is slightly sales job. Okay. Now, if you want to get into the front office role, if you want to do M&A, if you want to do your debt restructuring, if you want to help in IPO, what are the core skill sets that you need? Okay. Generally, you will find MBA from the top B schools. Then CFA and FRM combination students actually get an opportunity to enter over here. Okay, so you have to be good with numbers. Why? Because when you're doing IPO, when you're talking to client, think about this. You're talking to a CFO of a listed company, and you're basically guiding them how to raise money from the market. So you have to be very good with numbers. You cannot fall over there. You have to be very good. Then market knowledge and product knowledge, all the basic products. Okay, how do my debt is raised? What are different types of debt instruments are there? What are the different stakeholders available in the IPO section? That also you need to be aware. What are the different products which are there? Futures, options, swaps, everything you have to be good with. Then only the confidence will be there in terms of the career growth. Ability to handle stress, because these kind of front office roles, they pay you exceptionally good. Okay, but the amount of stress, the amount of work you're going to be putting is also going to be high. Okay, you need to have a good story telling skill. Okay, because ultimately what is happening, you're talking to the senior management of the company. Okay, if your communication skill is not good, if you're not able to portray what you have thought, then it is not going to be easy for you to survive in these roles. Okay, having a CFA FRM charter holder definitely adds value, but you need to also look at your grooming. That means it's not only just functional knowledge. This is where CFA FRMs actually fail. Why? Because they only have functional knowledge. If you go and do an MBA, okay, they also get groomed in terms of how to present themselves, how to give presentations, how to negotiate. So all of these skill sets are also very, very important. And finally, quick decision making, okay, because if you have so much data in front of you, how do you manage to take into account the overall information and take decision, okay. I'll also talk about the general salary range that we see. Okay, so for analysts, senior analysts, the range is around 4 to 12 lakh. Again, it depends upon company to company. If suppose you go to Goldman Sachs, the salary might be slightly higher. Okay, these are just the entry level roles, but as we move ahead toward the associate level, so the range is very good. It can go up to 12 to 25 also. Okay, and then the AVP level, VP level. So VP range could be around 40 lakhs to 70 lakhs or 80 lakhs. Executive director will be like 80 lakhs to 1.5 crores or 2 crore rupees. Likewise. So the salary range is very wide and your compensation is very good over here. And you get a lot of bonus in a front office role. You get good amount of bonus, which could be your 1 year salary. Okay, that could also be the case. Okay, so from that perspective, this is a good opportunity for people who are doing CFA or FRM to enter into. I'm going to answer the query. Okay, Muzammil, I'm answering to your query. Sir, I want to be in core finance, presently completed CA inter. Should I go for articleship or CFA? See, if you have already done CA, articleship is a part of it, so you'll have to do it. But yes, you can easily give CFA level 1. It will not be that much tough for you. Again, to manage with internship or articleship is slightly tough. But yes, the content is something which you have already been reading in your CA curriculum. So I think so that is possible. So start your CFA journey, start with CFA level 1. For CFA level 2, you can take some gap and then give it properly. That is my suggestion. Okay. So I'm answering the query as I'm moving ahead in between. Okay. Let us talk about career in fund management or AMC. Okay. So I talked about the broader aspect of fund management. Within that, asset management company was one of them. You had wealth management company and you also had investment management company. So now I'm primarily going to focus on the asset management company. Okay. Now asset management companies are nothing but mutual fund companies. Okay. You can think of it like that. Okay. What are the different big roles that are available? Fund management. So you can become a fund manager, but not necessarily you will start into that role. Okay. You will end up being a part of the product team. Okay, you understand how the products are designed, how an entire, suppose there is a Access Mutual Funds long-term equity fund, how the fund is actually designed, how we are creating the mandate of that structure, how we are making sure that the money is getting invested into the market. Okay, so you can start out your journey into the core fund management roles by entering into the product side, product team, and then gradually you can work with your fund manager and give support to the fund manager, and then you can enter into the core fund management role also. Okay, what is a trading risk management team? Now whenever a fund manager decides that okay, I'm going to allocate say 500 crore rupees into say a particular asset, I'm going to buy ICICI Bank stock. Okay, so there will be a risk team along with the product team. There will be a risk team also, where we're going to be talking about. The risk team is basically going to give guidance to the fund manager that what is the risk involved. Okay, and they track the risk of the money that is being invested. Why? Because all of these asset management companies, they are putting clients' money. Okay, you guys are giving SIPs and putting money into mutual fund, and that money is getting invested. So they need to have very strong control over the risk. So you have a team which is only looking at the market risk of it. Okay, that they are generally called as trading risk management team. Then you have the client engagement also, right? Client engagement means there is a sales angle of it also, where you're making sure that the money is continuously coming into the fund house, or money is continuously coming into the asset management company, right? So you coordinate with brokers, you coordinate with banks to make sure that your product is actually being sold. Again, this has some amount of sales angle, but if you do it properly, okay, it gives you the base, and then you can gradually become fund manager also. You can start with the client engagement level, and then you can gradually move to the fund manager role also. Which are companies are offering these roles? So there are a lot of asset management companies like Axis, ICICI, HDFC, Kotak, all of these. There are so many mutual fund companies which are there in right now in India, and this industry is going to boom because the penetration is very, very low, and gradually it is going to boom into the market. Okay, how do you actually enter into the space? So you start out as an analyst, then become a deputy manager. Generally, in Indian companies, you will find that the hierarchy is very big. So assistant general manager, then your general manager, so many names. Okay, but as you move ahead, grow in the career, the packages also grow substantially well. Okay, so generally you start at analyst, and within few years you become a senior manager in that company. Okay, it can be senior management product, okay, senior management risk team, likewise. I'll take the query which has been asked. What are a few technical skills that we should build with FRM to get a good paying job? Again, you should be very good with product. Okay, you should know what is the cash flow of the product, what is the risk of the product. Okay, you should be very good with the modeling aspect if possible on VBA, okay, or Python. Basics of Python should be clear, irrespective you are getting into a technical role or not, because as a risk professional, if you want to grow in the market, then you definitely need to have some level of technical bent. So from that perspective, Python you should know. Power BI also if possible, because if you're going to present it to senior management in the future, then having this skill set definitely helps. Okay, what all things, how you can make your career in fund management or AMC, at least the starting point, you can complete your CFA level 1 or CA. Okay, you need to have good amount of product knowledge. Product knowledge over here means how the overall asset management industry works. Okay, there is balanced fund, there is an equity fund, then there is debt fund. What are the factors of it? You also need to know the rules and regulation. Okay, this is coming from the sector specific part. Okay, market specific rules and regulation. What does SEBI says? What is a regulator highlighting? What does Government of India rule says? So all of these basic things, if you have some interest into that, it is very easy for you to enter into the fund management business. Okay, good presentation and communication skill is by default required for all the roles, because as you're going to grow up in your career, your communication skill becomes very, very important. Okay, analytical bent, because you're going to work on huge amount of data. Okay, because when you suppose you're working for a product team within the fund management house or a fund house, okay, you might have to analyze a lot of data to come out with new product features which might actually work in the industry. And multitasking is also very, very important, because you have so many different kitties of work being done within the fund management team itself. When we talk about the salary range, okay, so again, this is almost similar to what we see in investment bank, because investment banks, the bonus structure is generally very lucrative in the front office, and salary is slightly higher. Okay, you will find that this entry level salary range is between 4 to 12 lakhs. It generally goes to around 13-14 lakhs also. And then the mid level, which I'm only talking about, say around at the deputy manager level or management level, the salary range would go slightly higher. Okay, now we are also touching upon the core finance team. So a lot of corporates, they're not banks, they're not FBA, they're not into BFSI sector, but the lot of corporates, they have a core finance team also. Okay, so what work happens in those core finance team? But before we go there, I'll address the query. Okay, Kshitija, I'm answering to your query. What is the ideal timeline for completion of FRM and CFA for bankers who are in their jobs? Further, how much prior time is required to kickstart the CFA? See, within 3 years, you should be able to complete both the exams. Okay, but it all depends upon what time you're starting. Suppose you're starting now, okay, then you can, if you want to go and give the exam, both the exams in a go. So FRM level 1 in August and CFA level 1 either November or Feb. Okay, you can kickstart in that way, and then you can start the journey. But again, 2.5, 3 hours is the maximum time frame that you should keep, complete both the curriculum, both the exams, and then use that in your career. If you're going to span it to 5 years, 6 years, I don't think so it will help much. Okay, do not stretch your exam. Try to complete it as much as possible early. Okay, Kshitija, I've answered your query. Pawan, do we have abroad opportunities after FRM? Definitely. There are a lot of students who only do FRM or only do CFA because they want to move abroad. Okay, say move to Middle East market. Okay, especially your Saudi, especially your Dubai and Abu Dhabi. There are very good opportunities for CFA candidates also. FRM, it is growing. Okay, for FRM, you'll find majority of the opportunities in Canada. You'll find it in US market, okay, abroad, and in the London market. So definitely there is opportunity out there. Let us go into the fifth point, which is nothing but your career in finance team. Okay, what all different roles that are available. Now, I have explicitly talked about product control. Okay, what is product control? So generally these roles are in global banks, global investment banks. Okay, see, you'll find this role in Barclays, Nomura, Morgan Stanley, all of them. Okay, what do? They generally hire CAs, CFAs, and to a certain extent FRM also. Okay, they have product control team for each desk. So I have a equity desk, I have a FX desk, I have a fixed income desk. So the product control team would ideally look at what all transactions that have happened by the trading team, and they will do the entire P&L of that desk. Okay, they will do P&L for each product, they will do P&L for each entity, and they will identify whether we are in profit, whether we are in loss for each product, each entity, each region. And then it goes to the trading team for an approval, it goes to the senior management for approval. Basically, they are giving a snapshot of what is a profit and loss statement on a day-to-day basis for different products within the organization. Okay, then you have treasury. Generally, treasury team sits under the core finance team. Okay, now in a basic treasury team, say for example you have a treasury of Reliance, you have a treasury of Mahindra Group. What they would do is they will be the person who are going to be raising money from the market. Okay, if tomorrow immediately you need 50 crore rupees, you can call up a bank, okay, negotiate with them and get the money within the bank immediately. Okay, so treasury team is responsible to make sure that the liquidity within the company is available. This is one of the primary responsibility. There are other responsibility also, but treasury is basically looking at the liquidity aspect of it. Okay, then you also have FP&A, financial planning and analysis. Okay, tomorrow we're going to be having a webinar on that. Now, when we talk about FP&A, so it is more about planning. So whether how much amount of money that has to be invested into a particular project, or whether suppose we started out, how much a business is actually generating revenue, how much percentage it is spent on expense. So FP&A team or financial planning team would ideally work only with senior management or the top guys of each businesses, and they basically do entire analysis that whatever we had expected in the business, whether the same thing is happening or not, in terms of revenue, in terms of cost, everything. So FP&A teams are also very, very important, where you can get entry into. Over here, generally you will find CAs and CFAs entry. Okay, you have finance control team. This is a risk team. So whether the core finance team is actually operating properly or not, whether the controls are working fine or not, or else there will be a lot of fraud that might end up. So you have a kind of an audit team within, or kind of a risk team within the finance division. That is generally your finance control team. Okay. Similarly, you have, this is the same thing, financial controller. Okay, almost the same thing. CFO team, this is more from the strategy perspective. Okay, where they will take a decision that how the accounting activities has to be done, or how the overall financial statement has to be managed within the company, or whether we need to enter into new products to raise revenue. Okay, whether from the finance angle they will think that what should be the strategy for the organization for the next 10 years or next 5 years. Okay, so that is also done by the finance team at the level. Then we have financial consultants. These are generally consultants who are working with consulting firms. They go to companies and they guide them on the overall finance structure, whether you should raise equity, if yes, then how much you should raise, if you are entering into few projects, how much money you should deploy. So financial consultants will actually give them that guidance that how the investment should happen. So over here also, FRM CFAs can enter and start their career into the market. Okay. Now over here, how do we grow? So again, you start at senior analyst, associate analyst, and you start at analyst level, then you move to associate level, then you move to VP level. That is what the structure is. And this structure is mostly from the MNC perspective. Okay. Before we move to the next, I'll take up the queries which have been asked in the on the chat section. Okay, so Muzammil, answering to your query, should I complete my articleship at a mid-sized firm and go for CA final, or focus on my CFA considering the high supply of CAs? My goal is to become a portfolio manager in UAE. If the goal is to go to UAE, then CFA should be one of the priorities that you have to look at, because it has to be a global certification that can help you to get a job in UAE. CA will also help, no doubt about it, but again, my suggestion would be to get, by the time you complete your CA, at least 1 or 2 levels of CFA is also done. Okay. Navneet Ranjan, okay, I'm answering to your query now. I have a 2 years of experience in account. Now I'm planning to do FRM. How I will show my experience to GARP, or should I go for CFA? See, first of all, this is a big misconception that, okay, if I've only worked in risk, that experience will be used. No, that is wrong. See, in your accounting field, you are doing reconciliation also. What is that? Reconciliation is done to reduce your financial losses. So whatever work you're doing, you have to connect it to the risk that you're mitigating and highlight it as your experience. So don't worry, your accounting experience can also be used as an experience in your FRM certification. Okay. Pawan, answering to your query now. I have 10 years of experience in banking. Does it enough to get charter holder? Yes. Your previous experience can be used. So don't worry. Even if you're a branch manager, that experience can be used because you're looking at the overall risk of the branch, right? Rahul, answering to your query, I'm a banker with a BTech background. Why I want to enroll for FRM and CFA? Yes, see, you having a BTech background is definitely an add-on, because right now a lot of these banks are incorporating technology and they need people who have the bend of technology. Okay, they want to hire people who understand technology. So having a BCom, okay, BTech will definitely help. Do not worry. Okay. Hemant Kumar, I am currently in my final year of college and preparing for level 2. So after completing level 2 in college, what are the career opportunities and abroad? See, I would recommend you start your career right now here as a fresher, gain some experience, and then simultaneously look for opportunities outside. And it is very easy to get into Middle East first, okay, any of the Middle East countries, and then move to US or UK or any of the European countries. If you try from India directly, chances would be less. Okay. What all, if you're working, so we were talking about the finance team, so this is actually wrong. So what are the career opportunities that are available finance team side? Okay, again, you need to have good amount of analytical bend, good product knowledge. Why? Because suppose if I'm working in a finance team of Reliance, okay, if I do not understand what product Reliance is selling, I will not be able to help support. Similarly, if I'm working in an investment bank, I should know how the trade happens. Okay, then only I'll be able to do justice over here. Presentation skills is a must. If you're working in a finance team, okay, you will have to constantly work on numbers and show it to your senior management, right? So over here also the presentation skill has to be improved. Okay, accounting knowledge, okay, if you have good accounting knowledge, okay, that gives you a base, because being into finance team, you will understand that the accounting knowledge has to be very good, right? You understand the numbers better, you understand the financial statement of the company better. Okay, over here what we generally see is that as you move towards the associate and a senior associate level, your salary can go above 20 also very easily. Okay, there are a lot of big MNCs who have set up their global capability centers in India, GCCs, okay, global capability centers. There they are giving very good salaries for people who enter into a core finance team, okay, with either a CA or a CFA or an FRM. Okay, so I've tried to cover that aspect. Next we're going to be moving into risk management role. Okay, pure focus will be FRM. I'll address the queries which have been asked on the chat now. So Muzammil, answering to your query, sir, could you guide me through the hierarchy from analyst to MD? How many years does it take to see? It all depends upon, there's no set rule for it. Okay, but generally you become an AVP with around 9 years of experience, you become a VP with around 14-15 years of experience. Okay, and MD, it has to be around 20-23 years of experience itself. Okay, so it's a long journey. Okay, there's no set rule. It all depends upon how hungry you are in terms of learning, in terms of growing in the career. Answering to your query now, Arjav, I've done FRM level 1 and now a CFA level 1 candidate, and in my second year of college, and would try to give FRM level 2 also. Okay, while being in college, what are the chances for a good private equity role? See, again, you have a lot of functional knowledge when you come out, but you have to be groomed. If you want to get an entry into private equity, okay, you have to be very good with what is happening in the market. You should constantly read, okay, where do private equity comes invest, okay, why they're investing into a particular company, what are the factors that they have looked into. If you keep on studying all of this, then definitely you can get an entry level role into private equity. But again, these are niche roles, so over here competition is going to be very huge. Okay, good evening, Nityu. Thank you for asking. Hemant, in India, what should be the ideal job as a fresher I should enter into after doing FRM and graduation? See, there's no ideal job. You start your journey. That is very important. Okay, you can enter into risk, you can enter into treasury, you can enter into compliance role also. That is very important. Look for the role. What kind of activity I'm going to do. If you really enjoy doing 20-30% also, you can enter and you can start your journey. Okay. I am answering to one more query which has been asked. Can we work as a PF manager, portfolio manager? Okay, I'm assuming a private equity fund or portfolio manager. Okay, or perhaps at a VC and PE, if you pursue FRM and holds a CFP, CFP will not help you in your private equity funds. Very rarely. Okay, FRM to a certain extent, but you need to have CFA if you want to get into VC and private equity fund. Again, it's not just about having a CFA. Please understand, it has to be your interest. It has to be suppose there is a venture capital fund. If they're investing in the market, there are so many VCs fund. Okay, opportunities are there. You can start at a smaller boutique firm and then gradually grow. Okay, so but you should understand and enjoy the process of what that companies are investing. Okay. Now let us start with risk management. Within risk management, there are so many teams that you can enter into. First is market risk. So whenever you enter into any trade or any transaction, okay, you have market risk opportunities which are available. All right. So which means if suppose I've taken a position into a transaction and the value goes down, that's a market risk because of say Trump winning the election, the price went down. So that is a market risk for me. Right. Credit risk, generally you will find the credit risk into banking industry. But it is also there in investment banking where you have taken a position. Suppose I have entered into a trade with somebody and I am expecting $50 million from that client, and suddenly the news comes that he has become bankrupt. So I'll not get that $50 million, right? That's a credit risk. Banks also face a credit risk because they have given a lot of loans and today the customer might not be in a position to pay back. So that's a credit risk. Operation risk is purely the way company is running. If tomorrow there is any disturbance, any discrepancy which impacts the day-to-day operations of the company, that is your operation risk. It can be because of say an earthquake, a flood, or say technical issue within the company. Compliance team, generally you will find company secretaries going and working over here. Okay, to a certain extent CA is also going to work over here. Every company who's operating they have to face a lot of compliance related requirement. It can be specific to your business, like for example it can be specific to banking sector, it can be specific to insurance sector, or else it can be specific to any company. Like you have to follow Companies Act, okay, because you're a private limited company or a public limited company. If suppose you're listed on an exchange, public limited company, so you have to follow the rules and regulations of the exchange. So compliance team will take care of all of that. Okay, stress testing, generally you have a stress testing team which looks into account that what bad can happen to the company, and they will take care of that. They will run simulation models and all to understand what is the worst to worst situation that can happen. Okay, then you have risk and control team. These are nothing but a kind of an internal audit team. They will go and check whether the teams within the risk management is actually working fine or not, or whether there are control breaches that are happening. Okay, so you have a risk and control team going and coming and checking your standard operating procedure, your policy documents, whether you're doing your activity as in sync with the policy which has been approved by the board of director or not. Then you have risk methodology team. They actually create models. Okay, generally you'll find IITians, people from Indian Statistical Institute coming and working over there. Very niche area. They develop the model, but there is good amount of opportunity with respect to model validation. Whatever models which are already been created, they are continuously checked. Okay, so every 6 months you'll go and check the model. Okay, you have a set process of checking. And why do we need to check? Because these models are deployed into the bank, right? So if suppose you have a valuation model and the model was wrong, you did incorrect valuation of the activity, okay, or at the asset, and you took position accordingly. So that will lead to bigger losses for the firm. So you have a separate model validation team within the risk management also. And then you have the ERM team. They generally have system in place which look at the overall risk of the firm. Okay, again you'll find that the growth is more or less same. Okay, you start as an analyst, senior analyst. If it's a global firm, you'll find this. If it's an Indian firm, you'll find as an analyst, then you will find it a deputy manager, manager, likewise you will grow, assistant manager. Okay, the hierarchy is like that. What is the overall salary range that we expect? So risk management, you get the slightly broader bracket, okay, 5 to 10 lakh at the starting level because you are a pure fresher. But as we grow ahead, the range can go up to 17-20 lakhs also. And if you become a mid-size manager, then the range could be up from 25 to 40 lakhs. Okay, you have to either be CFA or FRM, CFA charter holder, or FRM charter holder. Even if you have completed 1 or 2 level, at least you can get an entry level role into the risk management space. Okay, you need to have very good networking skill. Why? Because you are going to be doing stakeholder management. You're going to be talking to variety of team within the company. Okay, then you need to have very good knowledge about risk. Like for example, Basel. If you're working for a bank, you should know what is Basel, Basel nomenclatures, how the calculation is done. All of these things should be good with. Okay, ability to handle pressure, because when you work in risk team, the compensation is also very good. Your exposure is also very good, but you need to be good in managing yourself. Okay, good presentation skill, because risk team generally presented to the operation risk head or a credit risk head or a market risk head. So you will have to be good with respect to presentations and Excel. Very, very important. Now the importance of programming language is also increasing into the risk team, because they've started implementing Python, they've started implementing Alteryx into companies. So if you are good at that, if you have those technical skill set, it will automatically help. Okay. Next, I'll be looking at top recruiters in India, just to give you a feel of it. Okay. Before that, we'll address the query. Muzammil, answering to your query, are there any firms which provide articleship into the core finance role? There are, but very few. Okay, big companies will not do it. You'll have to do it at a medium-sized, smaller organization and then enter into bigger organization. Okay. Do German language skill helps in getting a job into investment banking? Not necessarily. In India, there is no requirement. If you're going abroad, obviously certain banks might need a specific language knowledge because they have clients from that side, or they have documents from that side, or they're dealing with a regulator over there. So then definitely you need a specific language requirement. For the top recruiters that we see, mostly you'll find opportunities very, very well into the consulting firms, KPMG, Deloitte, and all of that. There are a lot of GCCs, Global Capability Centers, of big investment banks, Nomura, JP Morgan, Barclays, Deutsche, Credit Suisse, which is now UBS. Okay, they also hiring lot of people into the market. So obviously the roles should come. Okay, entry level roles should be available. Okay, but investment banking opportunities are very huge. You should get an entry into that, and then you can, within the company also, you can change the team. I'll quickly touch upon how to prepare for interviews. Okay, this was actually not supposed to be added, but at last we thought that we'll just quickly touch upon this concept. Okay, so when you're going for interviews into core finance, so technical preparation has to be very, very good. Okay, so suppose if you've done CFA, you should be very good with your financial statement analysis. Okay, and it is not about just the ratios. It is not about just how the ratio is calculated and all of that. You should be good with what is that business doing. For example, if you have looked at the financial statement of a bank, how does a bank earns revenue? What are the drivers which are impacting the revenue? You should know that. Okay, you should also know the valuation techniques which are widely used in the industry. Okay, for example, if you are using DCF, okay, and you are using some 5% as a discount rate, why are you using 5%? Why are you using 5% for this business? That all of these core questions you should be able to answer. Okay, you should have the basics of M&A, leverage buyout, basics of financial modeling should be clear to you when you're going for an interview. Okay, behavioral fit questions should be asked. For example, they can also ask you a question with respect to like this. Okay, they can try to understand whether you are a good cultural fit to the organization or whether you're smart. So they might ask you, they might give you a situation, they might give you a task, and they might ask you to do an action. Okay, for that. So they might give you star-based questions. Similarly, they might give you 1 minute to summarize, give an elevator pitch. Okay, 1 minute to summarize whatever you have read in CFA, whatever you have read in FRM. Okay, those kind of questions can also come, right? So be prepared for it. So you should have to think that from the behavioral angle, because everybody is focusing on the technical aspect. Nobody's focusing on the communication and the behavioral aspect. That is also important for you to get a job, right? Networking, this is important because it is not about, and networking is not about just sending a request on LinkedIn. You should know people. People should be able to help you, right? So reach out to your alumni, your friends, brothers, friends, family members. Okay, LinkedIn is also a very good resource where you can connect with people. At least send them an invitation, ask them for guidance. A lot of people actually send messages for jobs. This will not help. Ask for guidance, and then with some communication with them, then you can ask for a job. Okay, do a lot of research also. What is research? Suppose if I am looking at, say for example, I'm saying that I'm very good at analyzing bank, so you should be able to do a lot of research with those bank. Okay, so that way we can look at this. Okay, so a lot of research is also expected. Suppose if a lot of students, when I hear their interview stories, okay, I get an understanding that you go for an interview, but you don't know what the company is doing, what is their core business. Okay, do some research. Okay, market awareness and brain teasers. Now, brain teasers are generally not asked in the interview. If it's a very, very unique role, then only it is. But market awareness, definitely. For example, UBS acquired Credit Suisse, so you should be aware about it. Silicon Valley Bank, there was a failure. Okay, what happened? So all of these things which are there happening in the market, you should know. Okay, what is an impact of Trump coming in to the investment banking activities which are there in the market? If you have some idea about it, you should be able to give a good impression as a candidate. Okay, so current events, you can ask. You can also look at estimation question. Okay, say for example, you'll be asked to estimate what is the size of market for Uber, what is the size of market for, these are brain teaser questions. What is the, how many number of petrol pumps are there in India? Okay, like with brain teaser, they do not want an exact answer, they want your understanding, how you are arriving to an answer. Okay, so those kind of question can also come in your exam. Okay, I'll take the queries now. Okay, so definitely thank you very much for joining till now. I'll address the queries if you have. This is our WhatsApp number. Okay, this is your WhatsApp number, which if you have any specific query with respect to career, you can reach out wherever possible. I'll try to help you out. I'll now address the queries. So there's somebody who's asking, I have 15 years of work experience into retail bank. Will FRM provide me a better profile in job market? See, you have to think it like this. If you're changing from banking industry, either a public sector bank or a private sector bank, and you're going to an NBFC, you're going to some corporate, people will expect that what additional you bring in. So over there, either FRM, CFA, whatever you're planning to do, will definitely add value because you will understand what is happening outside the banking industry. Okay, what different products are available in the industry, like for example options, futures and all. You'll get a very good understanding. Second, it creates an impression that you are eager to learn. Even with 15 years of experience, you are eager to learn. You're still doing some certification. It creates a very, very good impression. Okay, how to manage CFA with CA? This is a very tough question. Okay, CA itself is so vast as an exam. Okay, what you can do, like somebody was asking me in term when there is a articleship, okay, and you have a lean period, you are not preparing for your CA final, then you at that point in time you can prepare for CFA level 1 and give the exam. Okay, but yes, it is definitely tough to do CFA and CA together. Okay, you will have to manage your time properly. Okay, Muzammil, answering to your, okay, how much time one should give to manage CA and CFA per year? If you're not doing articleship, I would recommend around 5 to 6 hours for CA and the remaining 3 hours for CFA. Muzammil, answering to your query, could you guide me on ESG investing? Is it separate profile? Yes, it's a separate profile. It's a separate skill set. Okay, generally, this is a new thing that is coming up in the Indian market. Globally, it has been there. Okay, very good certification for this would be CFA ESG investing certification, but it has a place. People who have done CFA also, they can also get into this role because it is more connected to portfolio management. Okay, so that is why it is very new to comment upon. But yes, CFA to a certain extent, FRM guys can also enter, but you need to be good with the basic principles of ESG. Okay, I've answered the query. Chaitanya sir, confused between CFA and FRM, how should I resolve? See, simple. If you how do I look at it? Okay, if I want to get into investment management role, fund management role, equity research, fund management research, then I will do CFA. Because in CFA, I'll have to read about financial statement analysis, ethics part, economics, okay, which is slightly broader. If I want to look at how a company's risk is managed, how a treasury function actually works, or I want to enter into compliance to a certain extent audit, then FRM should be done. Okay, answering to one more query which has been asked, what if I assign 8 hours for CA, intermediate, and 6 hours for CFA, level 1? See, it is a very good if you can give time, but it seems to be slightly, you're studying 14 hours. I know CA students have the habit of studying for long hours. It is possible. You can dedicate 8 hours and 6 hours and go for the exam, definitely. Okay. So I hope everybody is being able to benefit from this session. Any queries, guys? The final queries, few queries, I'll take it. Any final queries from the students? We'll be keep on doing a lot of these sessions in the future, okay, to help and guide the audience, okay, so that the audience can easily plan their finance career, okay, because I know there's a lot of information outside in the market. A lot of students who are in their college, they are doing CFA and FRM and they don't know which role they will be able to enter. So that's the reason we started with a lot of podcasts, and I hope the podcasts are also helping you guys to get some clarity. Okay, we did one podcast on quant finance. We're doing one podcast on merger and acquisition also in the future. So interesting content. So stay tuned, subscribe to our channel, okay, and like and share the video also. Okay. Skills on financial modeling will help mostly into core equity research roles or M&A roles. So if you're doing CFA, along with that, you can do financial modeling. FRM, it will not be that much very helpful. Okay. So I'm closing the session for today. Thank you very much, guys, for joining. We'll keep on adding more such interesting videos.